That's a condor. 2 California condors flying right over us right now.
This is the High Peaks Trail in Pinnacles National Park. It's one of the best hikes in the world for seeing critically endangered California condors. Only about 350 of these birds are alive in the wild, and I saw several of them on one morning hike. This is a fairly strenuous hike covering 5.3 miles with 1,600 feet of elevation gain and several steep staircases.
So we are going to head up Condor Gulch Trail, and then cut over to the High Peaks Trail and back down.
I arrived early in the morning and got to see a coyote and a family of deer on the drive-in. Arriving by 8 a.m. is recommended to guarantee yourself a parking space and avoid the long entry lines like the ones we saw on our way out. You can also take a shuttle bus from Pinnacles Campground to the Bear Gulch parking lot.
Okay, we're just here at the start of the Condor Gulch Trail, headed up to High Peaks, one of the best viewpoints in Pinnacles National Park. It looks like a beautiful morning. It's a clear day, the sun is out. It's just a little bit chilly, which is nice because it can get very hot here. And I can't wait to see the views from up there. I can't wait to maybe see some California condors. So let's hit the trail. Check out the views we already have of the rocks up ahead of us. These are the rocks that give Pinnacles National Park its name. They were formed by volcanoes 23 million years ago. You can hear all kinds of birds, woodpeckers. A lot of interesting sounds here early in the morning. It's only about 7:30 a.m. We arrived here early to beat the rush. Look at this tree, it has holes all the way up. I guess those woodpeckers got to it. This side of the trail here on Condor Gulch tends to be very exposed to the sun, but we're here in the morning, so we have a nice amount of shade. We're starting to go up a little bit. There's a nice little valley to our left. That's where we're hearing a lot of birds. I see some squirrels down there running around.
Pinnacles began as a national monument back in 1908. Theodore Roosevelt was president. He obviously was a fan of the national parks, and so he created the national monument. It wasn't until 2013 that Pinnacles became a national park.
These sounds we're hearing right now are California quails. That screeching that almost sounds like a rooster is the quail. And of course that loud yelp is the raven. I love this trail going up because we're constantly looking up at the rock formations above us. It's very cool scenery. Before long, we will be on top of those rocks. We've gone about 1 mile so far, and the scenery is still amazing. There's some really cool trees here with a bright red trunk. I will have to research these and see what they are. We're now right in the middle of Condor Gulch, and the views are pretty spectacular here. We made it to the Condor Gulch Viewpoint, and this is pretty awesome. We're now basically in the middle of all of these large rocks that we were looking up at. Gotta use the handle here to walk across. And the view down into the gulch. We're on a section of switchbacks now. These are pretty exposed to the sun, so it's starting to get a bit hot. It's still been a pretty gradual incline on this side, which is why a lot of people like to take the counterclockwise route, because the incline is less steep than if you go clockwise. That is a turkey vulture. You can tell from the pattern of the white on the underside of its wings. The turkey vulture mostly has white on the bottom of its wings, covering most of the wings, while the California Condor has less white and it's closer to the head. We're right at the edge of one of the switchbacks, and now a pretty awesome view has opened up behind us. You can see the mountains all the way back. You can also see down there in the middle, the parking lot where we started. That's the Condor. Two California Condors flying right over us right now. There are less than 400 of these birds in the world, in the wild. We've got two of them right here. See that bright red head? And the white patch on the underside? They are massive. This is one of the best trails to see the condors on, the High Peaks Trail, especially early in the morning. Oh, you can hear them cutting through the wind. That's amazing.
Back in 1987, California condors were nearly extinct. There were only 27 wild condors left in the world. They were captured and put into captive breeding programs, which have been remarkably successful. As of today, there are about 350 California condors living in the wild, and the numbers keep rising. These birds can only be found in California, Baja, Mexico, Arizona, and Utah.
That was pretty special to see a condor flying right above us, very close. To see such a rare creature in its natural habitat, just circling around for several minutes. That was very cool. That was one of my #1 goals on this hike. This condor sitting up here right on top of the rock just ahead of us on the trail. I was able to zoom in and see that it's number 92. It has a tag on its wing. Most of the condors here get tagged so that the scientists can track them, since there are so few left. Look at that, just hanging out on the rock. It is still hanging out on the rock there. We're very close now on the trail. The condor finally looked in our direction as we continue walking up the trail. Amazing to see it so close. We're probably about 90% done now with the elevation gain. And check out the view from up here. Another amazing view. And a nice cool breeze coming up from the canyon. Stepping off the trail for a minute to check out this little viewpoint. This view does not get old. Now we've made it to a spot where we can get really up close to these rocks. You can see their features. Some of them have big holes. Mini cave. Look at the size of these pine cones.
На приближение. А ты видел, как он? Главное, что у него оба крыла. Он действительно лысый. А почему он лысый?
Look at that wingspan.
The top part of this hike is referred to as the steep and narrow, for reasons that are about to become obvious.
That's when you have to watch your head. This is why they call it the steep and narrow. Have to duck through to make it through this section. And then I'm on the wooden bridge. I can stand up a little bit. Enjoy this amazing view. Interestingly, there's a lot of squirrels around this steep and narrow section. Make sure when you're up here you look closely at all the birds flying around. There are a bunch of turkey vultures flying around here, but we did see one condor. That one that flew by is just a condor. That one there. And that one, those two are condors. This one is a condor. You can tell from the pattern on its wings. These steps are pretty wide. Just take your time. There's a couple of vultures hanging out in this tree to the left. Another one of those narrow walkways along the railing that make this hike fun. Made it through high peaks, made it through the steep and narrow. Saw probably 7 or 8 California Condors. Not quite sure exactly because we might have seen some of them twice. But that far exceeded my expectations. We are now on the way down. The scenery is still spectacular with these rocks everywhere. Not seeing any more birds flying around on this side. We're now coming down the Bear Gulch side. So that might be it for condors and vultures, but it was pretty amazing at the peak. And now we're just going to enjoy the walk down. On the way down, it's mostly sun exposed, but there still are a decent number of these big rocks where you can take a break in the shade if you need it, which is a nice help on a hot day like this. It's amazing how all these rocks ended up where they are. This park used to lie right on the fault line, so the rocks got shifted a lot over time with earthquakes, and now they've ended up scattered all over this area. According to the Merlin bird app, that is a bush tit that we hear singing. The very end of this hike is really nice. It's all shaded, a lot of trees. There's a little creek to the left. This is nice to finish up with. That's why I like to park at the Bear Gulch day use area and go counterclockwise, because then you're finishing up with this easy section. And we are back at the parking lot about 4 hours after we started. We went at a leisurely pace, stopped a lot to watch the condors, and still made it back in under 4 hours.
There's another little loop at the end of this hike called the Bear Gulch Cave Trail, which takes you through a narrow cave. It's very cool, but it was also very closed the day I visited. The cave is closed from mid-May to mid-July to protect the newborn bats inside. And that's it for my journey to Pinnacles National Park. Thanks for coming along. I'll see you next time.